Hello, everyone. Welcome to the podcast. This is Ro. This podcast is called The Stone Genius. That's me, The Stone Genius. I am back. And this is going to be a late day episode when this comes out, no matter where you are, because it's the late day where I am, which is in the Midwest, which, while recording this, I'm having poopy weather. I can cuss on this. I don't know why I didn't. Oh, maybe this will be the episode. This will be finally the episode that I do not curse during the entire episode. I think that applause may have come in just a little bit early. Sometimes I can make it a matter of minutes. And one time I may have ruined it around the 56-minute mark I think I was actually signing off, and I told everyone to F off. I'm just kidding. I don't think that's how it went. The reason I have not put out a lot, I don't know where I was going with that. Reason I have not probably has more, it has to do with it has 100% to do with my mental health. Now, because I am not afraid to talk about anything ever, always, this is something Bobby and I have been communicating, talking about. When I first went on leave for my surgery, my father just passed away, and then our dog had a catastrophic injury 2 days after my surgery. So it has been rough. And I had done a lot of writing, and even from the time that Dakota injured herself to the time that she had surgery 2 weeks ago. Excuse me. Sorry, I keep clearing my throat. I was still writing and doing a lot. As we got closer to surgery, I started freaking out. Not freaking out, but just my mood and behavior changed. And if you listen to the last show with Bobby, we talked about some of the things that she has seen in my behavior. And then we talk about it as well. But the hardest thing is, because I asked her, I go, man, I could not imagine feeling like I do right now about everything. The only things that really ever bother me are the things that I have to be involved in, but I am not. Control's not the right word. I'm not being able to be as useful as I think I should be. So it's just with the dog, she doesn't understand. When I dropped her off, she is not used to going somewhere without me, especially with someone else. So if that's happening, she immediately knows something's going on. And this dog, who is loved more than, scratch that, this dog who's as loved as much as any dog on the face of the planet, still freaks out when we go out of town. And our next door neighbor, who she sees daily, she still will not eat for 3 days because she's so stressed out that we're not around. So I was concerned about that. She's having surgery. She doesn't know what's going on. She's not going to eat. So I was, and it really, I was like, man, I can't believe people walk around caring this much about others all the time. Because Bobby said that's how she felt about her kids all the time. And I'm like, well, I don't. And it's not to be mean, but my thing is, we raise them. bye-bye birdies, get out of the nest. And I don't mean it like that. They're always welcome to come back. But what I mean is if they make a decision now, it's a decision that they choose to make regardless of what instruction, teaching, however. Like, I don't worry about them when they're out driving. They're good drivers. They know how to drive. They know the laws of the road. If they do something wrong, if they drink and drive, they know that's wrong. That's a decision they make. If someone else drinks and drives and hits them, that's not a decision that's not something that I can worry about or do anything about. And I don't have any control over that. And they're not going to, I don't worry about things I don't need to worry about. You know, I related this on the last show to my uncle who was in Italy and came down with COVID and was in the hospital for 4 days, doesn't speak Italian. I am sure because it's English, they probably had someone there in the hospital, if not the direct attending physicians, nurses speaking English, they probably had an interpreter close at hand. But how would you feel? Especially if you can't communicate. Like, you think you're going somewhere. Like, say, so something that normally doesn't happen. Most of us are used to going outside, getting in their automobile and driving to wherever they need to do. That is a treat for dogs, at least many dogs. No matter how often any of my Dobermans have gone with me, it's always a treat. Even if they go every single place with me, like my first couple Dobermans did, I run an errand. Everywhere I went, they went, but it was still a treat for them. So because we're used to doing that, think about if someone picked you up in a super sports car, or limousine, or something like that. So now you're all excited, just like they are. So you're excited now because this is something that, oh, wow, this is not a normal occurrence for me. And if you do drive or are being driven in a limousine or a super sports car, let's talk. I need a sponsor for the show. Let's talk. Anyway, it would be like that. So you're all excited, and then you get taken to a place where you don't recognize anyone, or you do, and the reason you recognize them is bad things. Like, whatever those bad things are, like, you just see that and you're like, oh, this usually is not good. If I'm seeing them, I'm going to be hurting tomorrow or forced to eat vegetables or whatever the case may be. So you see them and you're like, nope, not. So now you've gone from, ooh, look, I'm in a limousine. I'm on top of the world. And then you get taken to a place where you like see someone and you're like, oh, this ain't great. And then after that, you don't understand anyone. You don't understand what's going on. You don't understand. They're playing with a part of you that hurts, and you don't understand why they're doing that because you would wish they didn't. So I'm stressing out. And as you can see, I've already thought about this. I did in a state of, that's high. I put myself in Dakota's position and tried to see what, excuse me, what she was going through her eyes. You know, and then you wake up and you thought you were in pain before, but now you're in super pain and you have a big radar dish on your head. So I stressed out about that a lot. I also have not, well, I don't know. So Bobby will say she does not think that I have grieved properly for my father's passing yet. I don't know. I don't know what grieving for your dad passing away looks like because I have a dad and he just passed away. And, you know, I talk about this with Bobby all the time, that even if it was sudden and unexpected, like we're just going at it like normal. And then like I let out some weird sound like normal. But this time it's like there's nothing after. I die. And I die unexpectedly. Still be happy. I mean, there's no reason to be sad. I mean, one thing I'm tomorrow night is my dad's memorial. And one thing I'm not looking forward to is I'm like, I get it. He was 90. There will still be people there of and near that age. My mom's 83, so there'll be there'll be many people there. No catapult involved. And if you don't know what that means, you need to go back and listen to a previous show. We've talked about it multiple times about what I want to do with my body after I'm dead, and it does involve a catapult, and if you pay enough, it could involve you too. Yes, I thought you would like that. Anyway, I don't know how I'm supposed to grieve. Bobby doesn't think I've grieved properly. I have not cried. Now, I did cry at the national anthem of the baseball game, the Royals game. I shed a tear at a video on YouTube of a dog who someone thought they were going to rescue, but it wouldn't come off the highway, and it led that person to an injured dog that they wouldn't be left there. I shed a tear for that. And then I watched a whole bunch of fail videos of people failing at tasks that they either should not be doing for a number of reasons, because of danger involved, lack of education, information, instruction on doing what they do. So it could either be that or just funny shit that happens and no one's on that one going. So, I mean, I don't know how I'm supposed to grieve for my father. And then my thumb. I will tell you, I was not looking forward to this surgery. I do have arthritis. This is something that my goal is at 54, I already have arthritis that caused me some distress. That being said, this thumb, if I didn't get it fixed, the arthritis would be worse and quicker to onset than if I had this surgery. But fudge almighty, trying to do things with one, and it's not a half hand. Without a thumb, it is not a half. I have. I don't remember. It's been so long ago. When I used to play basketball, like all the time, it was not uncommon for me to break fingers or multiple fingers at a time playing basketball, dislocating, whatever. So, but if you don't have a thumb, and maybe I suppressed it. They always say that women, when they have childbirth, that they can't really recall that pain, and that's why they would do it again, and why people have don't stop at one, even though maybe they should. Sorry, I probably didn't need to fit that commentary in, but I did. You're welcome. So, but I did not remember the pain, frustration of the surgery on my left hand. Now, it was more involved. There was joint replacement, tendon removal. There was a whole bunch of, that one had to be done. That wasn't like, you could not do this, you're going to suffer some consequences if you don't. That was not an option. That was you need to have this done. So maybe my thought process and everything was different in how I viewed the surgery itself and the recovery. That being said, this one has pissed me off. I mean, my dexterity has sucked ever since the last surgery on my left hand, which I am left-hand dominant, but I am fairly ambidextrous because I grew up in a right-handed world. This one, and I think it's probably exacerbated by the lack of dexterity I currently have in my left hand. And then when you remove the thumb, it's not even like I have a good hand and say 2/3 or half of a good hand. It is, I have like 75% of one hand and maybe 50% of the other. So I have 1 1/4 hands is basically what I have. And that may be stretching it. So I have dropped, trying to get stuff. It's frustrating. and I mutter a lot, and our dog doesn't like it when I mutter. There are certain words, we talked about this before, it does not matter how I say it, in what inflection, and in what type of circumstance, anger, celebratory, it does not matter. That word will make the dog try to back into the couch. Yeah. So, anywho, anyhow, anyway, I enjoy doing shows 5 days a week. And then I found myself with all this time, but all this different stress, and I just couldn't do it. And it has to be a low form, I don't want to say depression, but maybe a low pressure system, let's call it. And I talked about, Bobby and I are very, and it doesn't help that I'm not sleeping well. Even the last couple days, probably should look at the stinking dog. Hey, what's up, baby? Yeah, she knew that I was looking at her. So that's the other frustrating thing, is that she knows when I cannot see her. So she'll try to lick. So even the last couple nights. So I've had one night in the last 10 where I got sleep. Bobby, Saturday night into Sunday, she slept out front with the dog because if the dog comes in the room, she'll want to get on the bed. She can't, blah, blah, yada, yada. So I know there's some sort of low pressure thing going on with me. Maybe when I get back to, and one of the things I do to relax, and a place where I think, I think so much in there. Bobby has got me a writing pad, a waterproof pen and paper like they use underwater that I can use in the shower. Because she usually is listening to me cackle and laugh. Not always because of something that's going on in the bathroom sexually. But sometimes I will get, so it used to be, so don't think that, yes, Bobby is the most wonderful, loving wife ever. And she thinks about me and the kids more than she thinks about herself. However, the getting me a pen and paper that I could use, a pad in the shower, was strictly to take a load off her. Because I can't tell you how many times, because there's literally too many to count, in the 3 digits, I'm sure, of me calling out to Bobby, hey, write this down, write this down, write this down. I feel like she should just come in there and sit. And so maybe I should start a Patreon for the Stone Genius. And then it will be so that Bobby does not have to work, or at least as much, go to part-time, so that she could stay there while I'm in the shower. I love to soak in the shower. I'm not sure if you're aware of this. When you have a cast on, no matter how waterproofy you think you've made it. So here's the thing. If you do make it super waterproof, and you take a warm to hot shower like I do, your hand will start to sweat. So now you haven't let water in there, but now it's going to get stinky because you have waterproofed it, which seals water out. However, it will also seal water in. And you thought this was just a stoned episode. It is part genius as well. It's always genius. What am I talking about? For those of you with the society, hello. I have actually had some of them ask, because that's another thing. Not just my podcast. Excuse me so much. I will try to mute it next time I do that. Maybe I'll try to get a drink before next time I do that. I've had people locally ask me about if I'm all right because of the lack of shows that happened last week. And then I've had some people on the society who've asked both that and just whether I'm all right, because generally I'm making snarky comments on there. Someone will try to put some actual topic that requires a certain high level of conversation about it. And then I come in and make some snarky comment. But that's what I do. I do that, and I clap my hands, and I go, thank you very much, and I walk out of the room. And it's a chat room, so I'm not physically walking out. I'm virtually walking out on them. Anyway. So next week, Memorial Day week, I will be going back to physical work 5 days a week. I'm just kidding. I'm actually looking forward to that. I am tired of being at home. There have been a couple times where Bobby's come home and I'll be like, hey, I need to take the trash out. She's like, I'll do it. I'm dressed or what? And I'm like, because I'll still be in my pajamas, first of all. Or maybe not my pajamas, but something that looks enough like, would identify enough as pajamas that she's just going to assume. And rightfully so. Everyone would assume, seeing me in my outfit. So like right now at 2:15 Central Time on a Tuesday, I am wearing thermal socks, some big baggy sweatpants, and a nightshirt that hangs down past my knees. And if you're going, oh, well, at least you're color coordinated. I am not. So if that's what you were going to say was going to save the outfit that I just described, if you thought that if it's color coordinated, that's fine. Even at the time of day, the day of week, it's fine. It's not color coordinated. And in fact, it's probably contrasting colors. Like it was almost a conscious decision I made to dress this way. But see, that's one thing. Some people will they'll care about, like Bobby probably cared, like, did anyone see, like, and she didn't ask this time, and she probably wouldn't now. She may still think it, maybe she doesn't even think anymore. But before, she probably would have said, did anyone see you like that? So when we lived out in the country, DeSoto, Kansas, which is, I muted that one, bitches. I just wanted to cuss because I don't think I had to cuss. And I'm going to have to put the explicit tag on there anyway. So I'm going to cuss anyway. So calling you all bitches was the best way to do that at this point. Now I actually feel freer. I feel like I can talk more freely now. Of course, now I don't remember what I was talking about. I am hoping that after I go back to work that I feel better. I think that I will. I mean, I wanted to put out shows. I was finding it difficult to even do that. And so when I can't even get dressed, I can't tell you how often I've had to get dressed. And I usually don't shower till night. So a normal day, if I was out about doing stuff, then I don't shower till right before bed. Typically, it's shower, dry off, get into bed for me. I don't have hair. I don't have to worry about bedhead or anything in the morning. I can just brush my teeth, kind of wipe off if I need to, and I'm good to go. So on numerous occasions, more often than not, I am having to change clothes before Bobby gets home. So like right now, I am in the clothes that I slept in last night. Still. Here's my thinking. I don't have anything going on. I'm not going out. Why do I give a shit if I'm still in my clothes? I'll get out of them eventually, but Bobby's not going to be home till 9 tonight. So the chances of me physically getting out of these clothes prior to 8 p.m. is probably fairly low. I do have some invitations out for people to come over to do interviews. That would drastically change my grooming habits before they were. That's another thing that pisses me off, is being down to one hand. So today, and this is hard. Think about this. Think about cutting your fingernails on both hands, each hand equally well, because I would show you my hands and you would not be able, you'd be like, I don't think you'd be able to tell the difference of figuring out how to cut your fingernails without using your thumb and not being able to pinch. So if I was instructed correctly, whenever I learned, I don't know what age I learned how to cut fingernails, whether that's 2, 5, or 15. I don't remember. Whatever age that was in my life, not yours, not mine, in mine. Oh, see, I think Dakota's going to go lick because she's hiding. I have to eyeball this chick. Oh, now she's going to lay by the couch so I can't see her. Now I got to stand up for the dog. As soon as I stood up, she moved. And that's one thing that's frustrating with her. Don't do it. Don't lick. She still tried it. Oh, that's the frustrating thing. And even that little sound will bug her. And I don't want it to bug her. And that's what, so I've had to modify my behavior as well. Is that my behavior with her has had to change. I'm actually trying to stand up and watch her to make sure she doesn't do some shenanigans. And now we'll see how this boom arm works going back down. There we go. Maybe. There we go. That'll work, probably. I gotta keep checking her. See, and that's what's so frustrating, is usually I don't have to worry about any of this stuff. Ever. Like anything. I go through my life just not worrying. I have had such a privileged life. And I'm not going to deny that. I mean, I was trying to think about the worst thing I've ever seen. And I don't even know. You know, some people have seen loved ones killed in front of them. On purpose or on accident. And that, I don't have anything to gauge that off of. I literally was trying to think of the worst thing and I couldn't think of something that would be my worst. It's like that's how high my bottom line is. That if someone goes, what's the worst thing that's ever happened in your life? I would be, I don't know. I don't. I mean, and if I actually said something, it would probably be something that was so pathetic that people would just, they would roll their eyes is what they would do. I just have not. I just don't, I don't have that mark. And so when I have to worry about stuff, like I don't worry about the kids, like, you know, we have a kid that lives in Chicago. A child who's in Chicago, at 20, I would have never had the balls to do Chicago. Well, Chicago may have been different in the 80s. I don't know. Anyway, it doesn't matter whether it was different or not. Because the people are different. But I would have never been able to do what Trinity does. Just, I couldn't. The lack of fear that child shows, and not just in living, I know a lot of people doing that, but just remarkable. Just simply remarkable. And with Mo, our oldest, same thing. She's just amazing. And I've just never worried. She used to go during the summers when she was in college. She would go to South Africa with a group from our church here in Kansas City. Well, initially she would come home for the summer, leave with them, travel with them to South Africa, and then come back. Well, I think at least the last time, if not the last two times, she just met them there. So you have a 20, 21, 22-year-old young woman traveling from North Carolina to South Africa by themselves and back. I mean, I would do that now, but I would not have done that at their age. So they are remarkable, and I just never worried. I was like, they got this. It's just something I've never worried about stuff with my kids. And maybe that's a bit of hubris, thinking I trained them, instructed them, loved them so much, whatever the case may be, that I did that so well that they're just, nothing's going to hurt them. And and part of that is, like, I never worried. Like, when they were in high school and they would go out at night on the weekends, which they didn't do a lot. They were very much homebodies, which was always weird. I mean, I never really went out that much. I think Bobby did, but it was different because of the small town atmosphere and things that were going on. But they did not go out a lot. But if they did, most senior year in high school, we had moved to the country during right before her senior year in high school. And it was, I think, 25 miles from our house to our old high school. Well, in Kansas, and it's at least senior, if not junior, senior, if you move out of district, you can still go, you have the ability to go back, no matter commute, whatever, you can go back to that school if you want to finish at that school. And because of what Morgan was doing, what Mo was affiliated at school doing, dance team, drill team, those type things, she wanted to make the drive in. And because drill team, dance team's in the morning, so that was like 6 a.m. that they had to be at the school. So she's leaving like 5:30 in the dark every morning. Don't know if you're familiar with the country, but if there's ice, snow things, the country generally is treated last. Sometimes not at all. I mean, they kind of figure if you live in the country, that would always be a complaint of mine to other people. When they would live in the country and they'd be like, well, it's 20 minutes to the closest grocery store. Yeah. All you had to do is look around or ask one friggin' question. You would have found out this town has no grocery stores. It's 20 minutes one way. Don't complain about that. You chose to live here. You don't get to choose to live here and then complain about the distance you are from everything. That would be like Bobby marrying me and then complaining about the size of my penis. And that rim shot is not only for the comedic effect, but it's also because of where that penis is going. That was also for comedic effect. I just have never worried. So it has been so odd, weird. And I know that Bobby has seen it. I mean, we're down to sex like twice a week. Now, here's one thing. So Bobby let me sleep Saturday night into Sunday morning. I did not wake up in time. She just let me sleep because she came in the bedroom once. She goes, you did not move. She goes, you went to sleep and you did not move an arm, a leg, a limb. Nothing was, you did not move. I did not pitch a tent. There was no morning wood. There was no movement at all. So she did not wake me up for church. I woke up about the end of it. We can watch it on TV here. So I asked, it's about relationships, the sermon series that's going on right now. And she had said, do you know, for someone that is our ages, because Bobby and I are in different age groups here, that for someone our ages and for being married as long as we've been, 25 years, that we should be having sex about once a week. And I said, unacceptable. So when I say Some people will be like, oh, she'll tell you that. Because I don't listen to my music. And it's not just my music. I don't think that registered. I do need to, Dakota's letting out some whole new sounds post-surgery, which I really need to try to record. That being said, Dakota she discombobulated me. Now I don't know where I was going with that. The sermon series. But that is one thing about us. I don't know. I do know why. I love to have sex with her. And so I'm very lucky that she seems to tolerate sex with me. But it's funny because I have not watched the service. So now I have to go back and watch the service just to make sure that she said that was right. And then if that is correct, I am going to need to have a counter argument as to why we need to continue doing it as much as we have. At this point, I've pointed to my prostate being in good health because of the amount of sex we have. I don't know if I can continue to get her to buy that one. Anyway. In this relationship thing that they've been talking about, they've done all these different surveys. And when Bobby was telling me about just a few of the surveys, it was funny because I was like, oh man, because we are so different than that. And I think that's one reason that we are like we are. Like our favorite holiday is coming up. And I am trying my best to get someone to turn this into an actual holiday. What's the date? It's about 3 weeks away. Within the first couple weeks of hold, please. Hey, Dakota May. That I could hear through the headphones. So the holiday is June 9th. I love 6-9. Love it, love it, love it, love it, love it. We love it. Bobby and I love it. 6-9 is the best number. Well, 420 is a good number. 6-9 is a really good number. 420 if you're by yourself, sometimes with others. Let's say this. If you are with if you're with platonic friends, then 420 would be the best number. If you're with someone that you're romantically involved with, then 69 may be the best number. And it's going to have to be a one-on-one situation because, like, if you're in a throuple, it's not going to work. I don't know how. What would that be? 180 plus 27, 207. So I guess you could call it a 207 would be your favorite number. Well, then let's just, for this situation, just keep it as you and one other person for 69. And if you have not listened to the 69th episode of The Stone Genius, it's 3435 where I talk about 69. And just to reiterate, because she says it in the first line of the song, she says, put them babies in me. Dim babies, D-I-M. I'm not saying it incorrectly. I had the words pulled up. Amazon Music, you can see the words. It said, put dim babies in me. I am either A, doing 69 wrong, and I've been doing it wrong for a heck of a long time, but I don't think so, because I'm doing exactly what I see in the movies. Or she's doing it wrong. And I'm going to say if she gets pregnant doing 69, she is doing it incorrectly. If you have never heard the teabag story, Trinity came home from probably elementary school. Trinity can put I don't know, because there'll be debate, and I don't want to start an argument between those two about who would win in a fight, because what they'll do is they will fight, and I don't want them to fight. Typically, Trinity, at least, let's just go back to that age. Trinity, even though she was 5 years younger, is that right? 5, yeah. Trinity could control Morgan, and so she had knocked Morgan down and said, "Now I'm gonna teabag you." And we were like, whoa, 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 what did you just say? And she said, I said I was going to teabag her, which is exactly, that's my kid. Because there was no like, what do you mean, what did I say? There was no hesitation. It was like, this is what I said. Because I said it, now I'm not going to play off like, I said it. Let's just move forward with it. And so she goes, I said I'm going to teabag her. And we were like, well, first of all, we're like, where did you learn that? And she told us who the student was. And we're like, oh, that makes sense. And then we go, well, what does that mean? Because anatomically, Trinity should not have been able to teabag Morgan. So we said, well, what does that mean? And Trinity said, that means I'm going to fart on Morgan's face. And we were like, yes, that's exactly what that means. Go ahead. Continue on, if you will. So maybe Ariana Grande learned 69 incorrectly, just the same way that Trinity learned teabagging incorrectly. And maybe she did get pregnant. It was like that one time that I was taking a shower with Bobby, and I said, can I stick my finger in your belly button? She said, sure. And she goes, hey, that's not my belly button. I go, that's not my finger. Anywho, anyhow, anyway. I also think I've watched a lot of videos lately. So here's some things that may be coming up as well. First of all, I am going to try my best to do live video, a live streaming podcast weekly from a bar here in town. I'm going to try to get that worked out. I was going to try to do it this weekend. I forgot it's a holiday weekend, so that may or may not be good. I guess I'm going to find out this weekend. Because I said firstly, there should be a secondly. I'm going to have some more guests on. We're going to talk about height later this week. I will be doing the interview finally, because I've already had to cancel a couple of times, with Cameron, who last known height that I knew of Cameron was 6'10". Now that was also like 8 years ago when Cameron was 16. So Cam could be 14 feet tall. I do not know. We're going to have a lot of stuff coming up, though. I'm going to try to do a weekly show that are live. I'm going to still try to have a guest come on. Mondays, most likely, if you didn't listen to yesterday's show, Mondays most likely are going to be a longest one night stand with. It will be our show, but I'll put it out on this channel as well. I have so many notes. So today I just wanted to talk a little bit about where I've stood with my mental health. And here's one thing, and I know it's not easy, and people are not going to do this, but I will throw this out there. Talk to someone. Just talk to someone. They want to hear it. And first of all, if they don't want to hear it, then they shouldn't be as close, whatever. They'll listen. If they love you and they care about you and genuinely care about your well-being, talk about it. And it's anything. You can talk about anything. 2 years ago, I had an honest conversation. I told Bobby that I wanted to take my own life because of the pain that I was in my feet, because of my arthritis. I'm glad that I didn't. But that's where my head was for so long, for so many months. And the only thing that they could say was, you need to do more drugs, basically, to get rid of the pain. Thank you. Now, I am not opposed to that in any way, shape, or form, but it seems like employers frown upon that. Anyhow, anyway, I have a ton of notes I have pages and pages of notes of shows that we're going to have coming up. It's going to be good. It's going to be fun. I am going to try. I just got a text from. Oh, hold on. Nope. There. So for my old podcast, the Road Show with Steven. Steven's got so much going on. I keep trying to get him to do a show. We're going to get that to happen. So that text just came through. So, but we have a lot of stuff coming up. I hope to have Catherine Dunkelman back on. She's been a ghost for like 6 weeks. So we need to catch up, find out what's going on in their life. And then we're going to be doing traveling this year as well. So we got a lot of cool things coming up. I am so sorry that I have been absent the last week. I do hope, and I will tell you, my full intent was to get this out first thing this morning. That is also, so I'm trying to fight through this. I really need to start the day by getting up and instead of going back to bed when Bobby leaves or laying down when Bobby leaves to watch 4 episodes of Ancient Aliens that I've already seen 10 times, I need to shower. I think tomorrow I get my cast off, I will be able to soak in the shower. I think I started that story a long time ago about being in the shower, and then I started talking about pain. I love to soak in the shower. I have not been able to do that. So that's a very relaxing. That is something I do every day. And we're not talking, well, how long do you soak? I'm talking 15, 20, 30 minutes. And you're like, geez, dude, there's a water shortage. Not in my taps, there's not. And I'm sorry. I know that sounds horrible. I know it sounds horrible. I'm just going to leave it at that. If you think that sounds horrible, that I am just, because you could be like, well, why don't you take a bath? I mean, I'm not opposed to baths, but first of all, at 6'5", and I'm going to talk about this with Cam because he was 6'10" last time I talked to him. He could be 15 feet tall by now. Actually, he's not 15 feet tall. I'm sure we would have all heard about someone who's 15 feet tall. That being said, so that will be an upcoming one. And you're like, why do you want to talk? People are fucking rude as shit to tall people, just so you all know. I know that most of you little pipsqueaks don't understand that. But think about, and see, the thing is, you don't think it's rude because you want to be tall like us. I get it. But when someone says, oh, you're tall, you must have played basketball, or do you play basketball when I was growing up or anything? I would always say, especially the shorter they were, the better. I'd be like, yeah, or do you play on the miniature golf tour, or what do you do? That's rude. Well, why is that rude for me to say something about your height in a sport, but it's not rude for you to say something about my height in a sport? And you want to know why the difference is? Because you want to be me. And you know that I'm being sarcastic and have no desire to be you. So yes, we will talk about height. I will talk, because I want to find out from Cam also, is I think I'm the perfect height. I'm the perfect height that I'm tall enough that I can do a lot of things that most people can't. I'm a head taller than almost everyone around. So when I was single in a bar, I literally was head and shoulder above everyone else, almost everyone else there. So I love the height I am, but I can still fit in cars. I can still fit in a bed at a hotel. So there are certain things. So we got so much coming on. See, just doing this show, I should have been doing this because, see, now I feel like I have some passion. In fact, I have so much passion, I may end up recording 2 more shows today. Bobby said she'll record one with me because I think not frustration. She is not concerned, maybe concerned, not concerned. Not concerned like, she's concerned that I am not who I normally am. And she even says that because now she said this early on that I am off now, not working, and I barely text her. But when I'm working, I will text her 20 times a day, literally 20 times a day, about stupid stuff. A lot of it's sexual. I did say, so I hadn't sent her a text. I actually looked at something and I noticed I hadn't sent her a text since like last Thursday, which granted the weekend, blah, blah, blah. So I sent her a dick pic. Hopefully it hasn't been long enough that she's forgotten what it looks like. I mean, I'm hoping, I don't know. If she sent me a picture of her vagina, I don't know if I could identify it. I don't know if I've looked at it that much. Like, if the whole groinular region was there, I'm pretty sure I could pick that out. But if it was just lips and hole, no, I probably couldn't. Some of you have made it to the 50-minute mark, and you're like, oh my God, he sounded like he was doing so well. All up until the lips and hole comment. Yeah, well. For those of you that are still here, thank you. God, we have so much to talk about. I can't believe how many pages of notes I've written. I should sell this off. And that's a good time to wrap the show up because I had someone knock at the door. We'll talk to you later. Bye.